Welcome to Bootstrap Businessmen, the podcast devoted to the aspiring entrepreneur on a shoestring budget. Here are your hosts, #1 best-selling fitness author Dale L. Roberts and the Midwest's best, Kevin S. Allen.
All right, we're live in the after show, Bootstrap Businessman, and man, we just got done interviewing Morris R. Cravens II, and awesome interview. But before I go into that, I'm going to say that we got a special guest co-host today, Scott. Not nude. You lied to me. I thought you were nude.
Well, I know you like being excited, Dale. I know you like being excited, so.
You look like you've had some sun.
I've had a lot of sun. A lot. It's been hot out here in Utah. It's finally starting to warm up, clear days, so taking advantage.
Now, what is hot in Utah?
Hot in Utah right now is like 70 degrees.
Oh, wow. Well, it was 91 here in Ohio, and I know Dale's in triple digits.
101, baby. Actually, let's see if it's gone down just a little bit. Actually, nope, it's still 101 outside, so I'm planning on a nice little leisurely stroll with my wife here after we're done doing our after show. But I just decided, hey, you know what? Scott is just so personable. He's kind of a guy that I haven't connected with in a while, so this seems like a perfect forum for us to kind of, meet up and, jib-jab. So I know, Scott, you got to bail, so let us know whenever you got to get on out of here, and Kevin and I will just continue to run with the program.
Will do, man. It's nice to be hanging out again. I literally just got done doing quote-unquote business stuff and was sitting up and had a quick chat with my wife, and then, hey, Dale and Kevin want to get on Hangouts. I'm like, all right, well, then let's do this.
Yep. So believe it or not, you're a two-time guest now. I see Clay Green was going to beat you to the punch on that one. But then again, he's going to be a guest. You're a guest co-host, so you're actually co-hosting this time. So don't be afraid, jib-jab. We're going to be talking about a lot of, bullshit and everything else in between. But you were busy with business, so you probably didn't get a chance to hear Morris's interview, did you?
I didn't know. Unfortunately, I was focused. I was doing right by our mans that wrote out the one thing, and just like everybody else that's doing it right and sticking to my calendar.
Fantastic audiobook, by the way. Good recommendation.
Yeah. I think that I truly get more out of audiobooks only because they're so more versatile, because I have such a hard time sitting. It's just not my personality. I have to be going. And so what's crazy is I'll be sitting there at the gym and I'll be sitting there, doing battle ropes and going crazy or something like that, and someone thinks I'm listening to like death metal or something, and really I'm listening to the one thing, or Tony Robbins mastering the game, and it's like no, it's not the death metal guys, I promise.
I never thought I could actually be able to work out and listen to audiobooks anymore, but now I can't really ever listen to. I was plugging into Django for a while, and then YouTube, and then some of my own personal stuff. But yeah, you're right. I'll work out like a beast, and nobody knows that I'm like listening to something on email marketing.
Right?
Yeah, it's a good focus. It does. It keeps you focused, honestly.
Question though here, Scott, do you put your speed at normal, or do you do it like twice? Because you can go faster on your audiobooks, right?
I do it totally at normal because I don't know. I'll try to explain it. I don't even know if it'll make sense, but for me, I can go faster and have more physical output if I have more of a control over my mental faculties. So I can be sitting there putting out higher, but have it be more controlled because my mind is in a controlled state instead of just like, death metal! So it works out for me.
Yeah, see, I take my audiobooks and I put them, probably over the last few days, I put it up to 2 times because one of the hacks I just released actually on my self-publishing channel was, you can actually go into the videos, and here's a good lesson if anybody's paying attention live, which we had 0 viewers live. Yeah! America! But anyway, though, a nice little hack is, unless the video's live, is you can hit the little cog in the very bottom, and that cog will pop up a menu, and you can actually change the speed from like normal to 1.25 to 1.5 to 2 times. When I discovered that hack, like literally, I don't watch a single one of the YouTubes unless I'm just for pleasure's sake. Like I watch like a wrestling interview. I'm not willing to listen to, Jim Cornette talking at 20 which he already speaks fast enough as it is. But yeah, when I just thought about it, I was like, what about my audiobooks? And I started doing my audiobooks at 2 times the speed. I listened to 2 email marketing books today in the course of my hour and 15-minute workout today. So that really, I can absorb that. But I don't know what it is like for you that you have to kind of do it at a normal speed. Is it like a comprehension type thing where you can absorb it a little bit better?
Yeah, it's kind of both. It's, again, the physical thing where I find it stimulating to be able to have so much control that I'm able to physically output something while being able to still take something in. I find it empowering, and what you're saying, being able to absorb that information in a slower sense. So it's both about control and absorption, but that's just my personality, kind of, because most of the time when I'm listening to an audiobook, not because I'm not paying attention, but just because I want to be 110% sure that I've absorbed that information, I'll listen to a single chapter 2 or 3 times before I even move on to the next one. Because there's no point in it if I listen to 10 chapters of an audiobook, let's say, but I listen enough or can absorb enough of it to apply the lessons from half of a chapter, then what was the point?
Yeah, it works for me. I find I do absorb some of it. What about you, Kevin? How do you? What is the best way for you to learn? Have you tried any like the speeding up anything on YouTube or on your audiobooks at all?
Depends on what I'm doing. If I'm driving, I'll just let them play. Mm-hmm. If I'm at the gym, which I do listen to, I will speed it up a little bit depending on what I'm doing for the day. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes at night when I'm just laying there after I've read, I'll actually listen to an audiobook before I go to sleep. It's kind of to cover all the senses, really. It's weird. But, yeah, just normal speed then. So there's only a couple times, man, honestly, and it just depends on what I'm doing at the gym. I mean, if it's cardio or something like that, then, yeah, I actually speed that up, too. Because I found, correct me if I'm wrong, that 120 beats per minute, music-wise, will actually automatically speed your mind up, and it speeds your body up automatically when you're doing cardio.
Yeah, there's been genuine, multiple, I couldn't cite any, but there have been multiple genuine studies done by colleges and et cetera that have measured the output of the same athlete while listening to one thing and then listening to music at variable speeds. Sure. And I can't remember the exact implications of the pace, but the athletes that were, when they were listening to music across the board, did better.
Little trap music or EDM or something going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You feel free to say studies say, because Lord knows we got a lot of these supposed gurus or experts that go studies say, but they never cite the sources. So usually what I say, if I say studies say and I don't have a link to the description of the video, I'll say there's no link in the description. You can just Google it.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ask Mr. Google Pants. He knows.
Exactly. Typically what I look out for when it comes to looking at studies is this is great. We're going to rabbit trail. We're rabbit trailing off of rabbit trails. But anytime I'm looking up, somebody says studies say, I always want at least some kind of proof. So if I'm watching a video or if I'm reading an article on a blog or in somebody's book, if somebody says studies say, I immediately look for, okay, what are the studies? That's usually the thing that goes off in my head because I want to see if it's actually irrefutable proof, or at least in my mind, the best proof is clinical studies that are peer-reviewed. That's pretty much what stands out to me. What has been your experience, Duke? Because I know that you have worked on, of course, gluten-free fitness, and then you had your dog book before that. So I imagine you had some citations and references that you used at one point.
I did awful as far as citations in my dog book.
Sorry,
and did slightly better in the first gluten-free book. Yeah. But I do agree with you. You have to go and cite your sources because there are all kinds of things with using the dog deal as an example. There's all kinds of people out there that will say and I was even one of them, that says, oh, if you have raw food instead of a dog's stomach as opposed to kibble, then it's going to go through the intestinal system from front to back at this specific time, and it's 4 times as longer if it's kibble. And it's like, no, it's not true. There's 1,000 people that are saying it on the internet, but go and look at an X-ray of it. So it's like, you've got to, I agree with you 100%. You can't just take something at face value, and I have said that specific thing before, so I'm just calling myself on it. But you need to go and look for actual irreputable proof.
Oh, dude, I'm with you 100%. Actually, when I released the 3 Keys to Greater Health and Happiness, it actually was the same. What's up, Kevin? What are you laughing about, dude?
Nothing. Sorry.
I'm not going to come from a self-righteous standpoint, man. When I released my first book, I literally had 0 citations, and I did a lot of study say, and I was giving information and factoids that, really I didn't have anybody to get my back on it. And when I actually finally had somebody edit it, they were like, where'd you get this information? Because I don't think it's true. And I was kind of like, yeah, it is.
I heard somebody say it.
Maybe.
I've been saying it for 5-6 years since I'm a personal trainer, and it started to occur to me, and that's the funny thing. When I went into the stretch workout plan, here's the issue that you run into is you don't want to go too crazy on your citations and references, because otherwise your book's going to come off like a college manual, and unfortunately, the workout plan, it's doing phenomenal. Did you? Yes. 6 categories. Number 1. I don't know. No big deal.
6 is all right. That's not bad.
3 countries: Australia, United States, and the United Kingdom. Oh wait, hang on. And it also got Germany at one point. So that's 4 countries has been #1 bestseller in. But the thing that if I were to go back and redo it, the stretch workout plan, is I went too crazy on the citations and references. It became too clinical. It was almost like someone could use it for a college guide, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Maybe you should sell it as a textbook. Just a rabbit trail a little bit farther here, Scott. Well, it's still on my mind, and we were talking about working out. I noticed you posted on Facebook you're working on the 6-week shred.
Yeah, this is actually, I started over again this week, and this is my 3rd time going through it. And
dude, no, I'm on week 2.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. I'm not necessarily endorsing Jim Stepani or anything, but I did the 6-week shred during 2015, the year where I had lost 60 pounds, and didn't experience the same results as I'm experiencing now. Maybe that's just because I wasn't paying attention as much. Maybe it's because I wasn't doing it right. Maybe it was because there was just so much to lose that I don't know what. But this time around, now that I've actually paid attention to, been better on diet, not just as far as calories go, but as far as, macros with higher proteins and eating for specific results, paying attention to weights versus rep ratios, I have seen crazy muscle gains, as well as some form critiques from Jordan Miller. I just barely finished week 6 last week and started over again this week, because it was like, if it's working, I don't care if I just got to the end of what the app says the program is over. I'm just going to start over again and just keep going from where I'm at and keep up with the regimen and keep upping the weights. And, this is the first time since high school when I was playing football and was just huge mass bulk that I'm able to slap 45s on the bench and actually do it without being concerned about dying.
Good thing. It's a good. Yeah. Don't die. That's never a good thing to work out and die. Is Jordan local to you, or you guys just like meet up through video chat or something?
Just all digital. No, he's in North. God, he's probably gonna slap me because we talked about this like twice. But I think he's in North Carolina. I think.
North Carolina, North Kakalaki.
I think so.
Beautiful state.
Or first 8 years of my life.
Yeah, that or Georgia. I don't know why, but
somewhere out east.
Somewhere in the South.
Scott, really, I forget sometimes that you're in Utah. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, Scott, he's up in Idaho.
I remember that you're in Arizona because I'm like, no. Too hot. I lived in St. George for years and years of my life, and it was just hiding in the damn house with the air conditioning because it was like you're outside for an hour and you're just nope.
Where's St. George? I'm sorry to seem
Sorry.
geographically incompetent.
It's about 250 miles south of where I am in, and I'm a little farther away from the Provo area, northern Utah versus southern Utah, and southern Utah being St. George, which is all, triple digits, red rock desert. It's hot. It's where Dixie State College is, and it gets so hot. You know how like when the asphalt cracks and they lay that like black tar over it to fix it? Mm-hmm. It'd just basically get to an all but liquefied state again all summer long. If you stepped on it, it would catch your shoe, and you'd have to like pull it off. And
you feel it.
I'm sure you know what I talk about.
Yep, I know that all too well, man. It's funny. It gets so hot that you literally have to put like dog mittens on if you take them out for a walk, because otherwise it burns their paws. I look at some people, they'll take them out for a walk. It's like, kudos to you. I'm glad you're taking dog out, but you realize that you're walking them on hot ass pavement, you fucking animal abuser.
Yeah, I go barefoot a lot, and I just developed this internal rule of like, if I'm not gonna walk on it, I'm sure as hell not gonna walk my dogs on it. Yeah. Even though they've got a whole lot more down there working for them, it's like, no, if it's getting too hot for me, then it's eventually gonna be too hot for them, and that's just not cool. Like when you see people walking their dog down the street, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're sitting there and they're lifting their paws up, trying to barely touch the ground. It's because it's too fucking hot.
See, like this show, people get to learn how to do business startups, but they also get to learn how to freaking, take care of your damn animals, man.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, be smart about it. Come on.
It's really not that hard. I really feel like you should have to have a license to own a pet. Like, you really, really should. Like,
there are definitely certain people that do need that. For me, I think I've always had, good common sense, when it comes to things like that. It's like, it's hot outside. The pavement feels hot near my feet with my shoes on. And we've got bare pads touching no, they're dogs, they're just fine.
Or the guy that lives in let's just say Miami, crazy humidity, triple digits all the time, and he decides that he's going to get a long-haired Alaskan Malamute. It's like, you're an ass.
That doesn't even make any sense.
I've seen it. I think Dale's
frozen. Dale, you're frozen up, buddy.
He's just so shocked by the conversation that he's stuck there.
He's like, what?
There we go.
There he is.
Now we're unfrozen. Yeah, I guess I was in. This is probably gonna be like this in the video. I'm like, what's up?
You literally had this look of like disgust on your face, like what?
Yeah. I'm gonna do that the rest of the show. I'm just gonna freeze like this and let you two just talk.
I feel like,
this is really funny to us, but the funny thing is somebody who's listening to this on Stitcher is probably going, I don't get it. What's going on? What the hell's going on? So, dude, question for you, man. Of course, you're in self-publishing, as I am. Have you dipped your toe into ACX yet at all?
That's my next agenda item after this book comes out. Because I've been sitting on this book for way too long, and the reason I've been sitting on this book for way too long is because I like what everybody talks about. I let myself get distracted by a shiny object syndrome, and it was like, I can do this and I can do this while I'm still no. You got too many things going on right now already. So once this book comes out, I'll let it start going through the courses as far as getting reviews and all those kinds of things going, and while that stuff, the more maintenance as opposed to production content type stuff is happening, then take the current publications and get them up onto ACX and then focus on more content creation.
Good call, man. Kevin, you never get distracted, do you?
What?
Huh? Squirrel!
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Dale, you and I were actually talking about that a little bit today, honestly. Scott, and Dale, I thought about this after, we chatted. It was just a little over 90 days ago that we put out "Fuck It, You Can't Rule the World from Your Couch."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you realize, man, Dale too, do you realize that there's 42 publications that have been done since that?
Crazy.
Well, all the journals, and then including the off-brands. So
He delicately puts the off brand. Well, see, here's the thing: is you and I went into Bootstrap Businessmen. We originally started out with podcasts. We said, hey, let's do podcasts. But then again, we started to think, okay, how can we be able to bootstrap our, some funds so we can make this show better? Because right now, yours and my goal is to, of course, get you a better microphone without having to take any money out of pocket. So we want to make sure that you're going from those headsets to, not necessarily a Rode microphone, possibly the one that Morris was telling us.
The Samsung. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Which I didn't look up the price point on that. Did you happen to see that at all?
Amazon, you can pick it up for $99.
Shoot, that's definitely worth it, man. But
yeah,
it's amazing. But you and I, we were pumping out journals to try to get ourselves some a little extra money, and that was getting us some good scratch. That we were pumping out, Fail to Succeed, 10 Guiding Principles, Soul Food, and then, of course, putting those over into ACX, putting them on paperback, and then now you're doing translations, am I not correct?
That's correct. They're both being Fail to Succeed, 10 Guiding Principles. Those are both being translated and actually just got picked up to do Soul also. That's what I was all excited about earlier. So we got a translator to do that too. So
Phil Scott in on the whole translation deal here. Go ahead, man.
Is this what you were talking about a couple of, gosh, it had to have been a month ago.
Dude, I got tickets to the gun show.
Yeah. Oh, better.
About getting the translations done and sharing translated licenses across countries and kind of you had just barely had a first look at it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin, because I think you can probably describe it better than I, since I just finally, I'll tell you what's happening with my end of things, but go ahead and tell what's happening with Bootstrap's brand.
Well, basically the same with ACX. Okay, you put your book out for audition. You upload a little snippet of the book for the narrator to perform an audition, and then you do like a 50-50 royalty split. Right, that's how it's paid. So there's no money out of pocket for you, and really no money out of pocket for the narrator. So they put it together. You share the royalties. Same thing with, it's called Babel Cube, but it's spelled Babel Cube.
Yes, I remember the beef about that.
I made up about it. It's Babel. It's Babel.
Babel. Yes. Basically, that's the same thing, man. You go through, you do a submission form with each book that you want to have translated. You select a language that you want to translate it into, and you put it out there in the marketplace. A translator scoops it up. They decide they want to do the work for you, and it's a royalty split basically at that point. So no money out of pocket on our end. So it's bootstrapping it, and it's being published into another country, which, I mean, you think about if you had to pay a translator to do that, it's upwards of what, $150 to $200 an hour for a translator? Yeah. And so now it's just a royalty split, so you don't zero cost out of pocket. So.
Yeah, I'm actually looking up the pricing right now. I'm on their website. It's a weird scale. Yeah, the percentages are pretty interesting. You're pretty much, there's actually, if you go over to the FAQs, you'll find out a lot more, because like if for some reason you don't really draw above a certain amount on Babel Cube, they actually will let you to opt out of like the agreement at like a 2-year point or something like that. But like they pretty much distribute everything for you. So essentially they're like a distribution channel. So you still own the rights to your book, but they own the distribution rights for the first 5 years. Now, for me, I'm like
the translated version.
Translated version. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, man, you guys keep jib-jabbing, and maybe I can find that pricing schedule.
And I've seen the languages so far that I've seen. Spanish seems to be a big one. Portuguese, German. I think there was Sweden. I don't know. Don't get too carried away there. But yeah, Spanish is probably the biggest.
Big surprise, right?
Yeah, right. No, man, and honestly, it's kind of I found an interesting fact out from one of the translators tonight about certain books. They don't have a lot of the same content that we have readily available here on Amazon that honestly I think we probably take for granted, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have available in their language. So you think about it like Dale's books, you know, the home fitness plans. I'm sure they're going to gobble these up. You know, there's nothing translated. And I started looking through. A lot of it is like science fiction or romance. Romance is huge in Spanish language. So, I mean,
There needs to be like a Babel X, a Babel AX,
yes.
translated audio.
Like X Babel.
There you go. Zabel.
Yeah, it's actually I finally got a hold of this person. Actually, she or he, I'm not really sure. I'm sorry, guys. They don't really have any profile picture, but the name is Marta Aguilar Vicario. Going to be doing Spanish version of the Stretch Workout Plan, and is ecstatic. I guess meets right up along my alley as far as fitness beliefs and philosophies. So this is really, we had a lot of exchange back and forth. Here is the name of the book. Hang on. It's funny. They were like, we're going to keep the Stretch Workout Plan because the translation is a lot longer. Bear with me here. I'm sorry.
It
was a lot. Okay. That's not it. Darn it. It was very funny because when they actually said it, I was like, touche. We'll go ahead and keep that, and we'll. Okay, here we go. It is Plan de Tablas de Estiramientos. Yes, that is the Stretch Workout Plan. That's how it goes into it. Now, mind you, my Spanish pronunciations are terrible. I know how to read most of it, but I don't know how to, probably translate as well as I can. So that's why it's going to be really nice. It's going to be nice and profitable. My wife Kelly actually has some experience. She actually took some of her publications, and she took one of, believe it or not, you guys know, and I'll just share it with the listeners. I actually do. I have a fiction brand, and I will never part ways with it. Yeah, I have a fiction brand underneath a pen name. You won't find it, and you won't get it out of me unless you torture, Kevin or Scott here to give you the answer. But at this point, the fiction brand does really, really well. I would, not as close as to say my workout plan, but it got translated into Spanish and actually became a #1 bestseller over in Spain. It was actually ranked like number 69, somewhere in the 60s in the total Amazon store. So that thing was crushing it in Spain. I was just like, yeah, and unfortunately my ego kind of was like, yeah, but nobody knows it's you, and I'm like, oh. So, at least I can walk around like I'm cock of the walk when I'm like, yeah, hang on a second, guys, I'm going to do it again.
Self-pleasuring.
6 categories. I had to bring it down in the frame. 6 in 4 countries. No big deal. I mean, it's only.
What did we name that one? The Banff trick instead of the hat trick for 3. The Banff trick. Is that what it was?
Yes. Yes. Because it's a badass motherfucking trick. Yeah. It's funny. There's a little bit of backstory on that one. Kevin, you kind of got a little bit towards the end of that joke because the 3 of us do our little message over on Facebook, and we'll usually throw something in there like Kevin's picture. It goes into every single one of these. I don't know. Have you seen it yet, Scott? The dick face yet?
No.
Oh, Kevin, what are you doing?
You're getting it with music.
Yes, the dick face picture. Oh my Lord, Kevin S. Allen. That man seriously finds some really jacked up pictures. This one's probably no exception. But at any rate, Kevin, I said to Scott probably about 3 months ago. I was like, watch this magic trick. Well, I was a little too soon because I was adding categories to my book. Because it's crossed into many different ones. Oh, there, the video just popped up. Like anybody can see this in there. But in any event, I said, watch this trick. And I was ready to go, ta-da, the very next day. Yeah, that's when my book dropped to like the 100,000 rank. I was like, okay, so much for that idea. Fast forward, I put it on the Kindle Countdown, and that son of a bitch sells like 90 copies in a single day. So I was like, pooping my pants. I'm like, good Lord. But,
well, it sounds like, sorry to cut you off, sounds like it's about that time for me to go. The wife just walked in and you're probably about to see the dog's going crazy.
Scott J. Marshall II, great that you joined us. Kevin will stay on.
See you, buddy.
You get on in there, enjoy some time with your wife, dude.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yep, take care now. So, any rate, though, you're still with me, right, Kevin? You haven't hung up?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, so any rate, I say the trick, and go ahead. That's why I said ta-da on our little message back and forth. But you and I were just talking about BabelCube. It's too bad I wasn't able to share this price range here with Scott, but he'll hopefully come back and watch this. He watches our show all the time, right?
That's I mean, he's loyal. He's one of our loyal fans.
So the revenue share works like this. It actually, if your book makes less than $2,000, I'm assuming this is within a month. If it makes less than $2,000, it's a 55% cut goes to the translator, 30% to the rights holder, which would be us, and then 15% always goes back to BabelCube. The next model ups between $2,000 and $5,000 is 40% to the translator, 45% to the self-publisher, 15% to BabelCube. I'm just gonna, just let everybody assume the 15% automatically goes to them. 20% goes to the translator, and 65% goes to translator if you're between $5,000 and $8,000. Which, if you're selling $5,000 and $8,000 in a single title, you've got yourself a hit on your hands.
Oh yeah, big time.
I find that for most of my titles, breaking 100 is pretty good. If you're able to break 100. You're definitely on track, and that's within a calendar month. Now, it's not impossible for you to do 5,000, 8,000. I know numerous self-publishers can do it, but and who knows? If you put it over to Spanish, German, Russian, whatever it might be translated to, you might be able to make that much, and some. And of course, the highest model, of course, this is probably where everybody should be shooting for, is 8,000 or more. It's 10% to the translator and 75% to the actual self-publisher. Now, the reason why we would probably bring up BabelCube is not just on the end of, self-publishing, of course. You got to look at it. If you're a translator and you're bilingual or multilingual, this is definitely something you should probably look into. I wish that I knew Spanish better, but unfortunately, the 5 years of study that it did, I didn't practice it enough. So my verbal skills suck. As far as
the enunciation and stuff.
Yeah, I can't really enunciate too well. I sound like an American. I'm like, can I have that there burrito?
Get some tacos.
Let's get some tacos and some guacamole. Yeah, guacamole. It's a distant relative of whack-a-mole. But the BabelCube is a pretty awesome, opportunity. I imagine there's other ones out there. So if anybody happen to be listening, we will give you a shiny nickel if you could tell us another service that is like BabelCube, not Upwork though. I'm just looking at something as specific, they're niche based, that I can go to and expect, okay, I can get a translator for this.
I have never checked them out. I've never looked at Upwork. Mm-hmm. It just seems like you have a aversion to that site or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? So I just kind of stayed away from it, to be honest with you. I'm like, if it's not, and this is the way I look at it, don't let this go to your ego. If it's not good enough for Dale, I'm not going to fuck with it. You know what I mean? That's the honest truth. You know what I mean? If you're not doing it, I don't want to be involved with it. So
Upwork is really, really good. I would say I would invest more time into it. That's where Kelly picked up her translator from, was Upwork, or maybe Elance. I'm not really sure. She's sitting over here. Upwork, was that translator on? Yeah, she did it through there. She's actually done a couple translators on there and found a really good one. And I don't feel like having to put it up onto a market and try to search. It seems like it would be more work for me. Whereas in BabelCube, that's all that's there. I'm not having to stick through a bunch of virtual assistants that will say, well, I'll translate it for you. But then they go through Google Translator, which you and I both know that's not 100% accurate. And it actually can lead to a very bad reader experience, which ultimately could get you blocked on Amazon. And I'm not trying to get my whole brand blocked.
Well, now, see, that's an interesting question that you're well, you're not posing the question, but the question comes from what you just said.
Okay.
So say your book's translated on BabelCube. how do you get that translation onto Amazon? Because, right?
Uh,
They,
yeah, as far as through Babel Cube or independently on your own?
yeah, independently. I mean, how would you get that translate? Or do you have to go find a separate translator?
Yeah, yeah. So
Do
in
you
other words, Kelly
um,
went through and she had the entire work done. So she had the title, subtitle, book description, the content all done. That was part of the full gig. Thankfully, she does, really just magnificent, covers. She's really picked up a good skill set in that aspect. So she was just able just to take that title and just use the same cover image, but just change out the actual text. So that way it represented the actual translation. So yeah, in Upwork, they just pretty much, that she could have probably hired them to upload it, but I mean, since she already kind of knows the process, she was able to go through and do that. So, and then it gets distributed just like anything else. I mean, when you put it through Kindle Direct Publishing, it's going to go out to, if you check off the worldwide distribution, it'll go through,
right?
Japan, over into Germany, Italy, all the different Amazon networks that you normally do. It's going to be available in Spanish now.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, it's super simple. Whereas with Babel Cube, they handle all that. They do all the distribution. So once again, they own the rights for distribution. So in other words, I can't just go and nab that and start uploading it over to say,
Kindle or
Barnes and Noble. It's
sure.
they own distribution, and if I break that contract, I'm sure it's somewhere inside the terms of service that they probably have something like, "We'll come in and sue you," and
Right.
I'm only opening up that stream to get more exposure, and then second most important reason, of course, is to make money. This is a business. I do it for the passion. I talk about exercise and fitness because I'm passionate about it. But kind of like what Morris said is, you got to make sure you can still pay the bills, keep the electric on. Feed your
Absolutely.
family.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. So
What was one of the things he said? I was trying to write it down, but I didn't quite catch it all. Something about having your family hold you accountable, and it's clean for your spirit, or something like that. I don't know. I didn't get it all.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
So you discovered a sound bite, huh?
I did. Well, yeah, no, I think it's important. I mean, it was a great point. Having your family hold you accountable. I mean, it's huge, man. You can be in your own mind focused, but if you got your family, just think about it, right? You're focused, doing your work and stuff.
Yeah.
But now, what if Kelly walks over and she lights a little fire, right? How much more are you going to do?
Oh, I do so much more.
Right? So same with my wife. I mean, or same with anybody's wife. If they actually do hold you accountable and push you, it's kind of funny. You're like, not you per se, but just anybody. You get to a point where you're just kind of like, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm done for the day. I'm done for the week, whatever the case is. I just need a break. But then if your spouse or your kids or something say something to you about it, it's funny how much more you can put into it. You can find that extra energy, or that fifth, what do they call it? Your second wind, your fifth wind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a great point. It just really resonated with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's good. It's funny. It brings us over to our blog, which, that right there, I'm starting to focus more on is over at bootstrapbusinessmen.com. And, I pretty much have the next month's worth of Tuesdays booked up for not only videos, but also written content. And this is how I've done the process. So it was yesterday. Was that yesterday or day before yesterday? I did all the content.
I think it was yesterday. Monday, whenever Monday was.
So yeah, Monday. So a couple days ago, I actually, sat down and I thought about all the things I wanted to share because, obviously I don't want to keep on making the Bootstrap Businessman blog about, okay, go to Fiverr for work or go to Upwork for work or I wanted to start to share what some of our guests bring to the table. And, D1, good Lord, he dropped some knowledge. That guy, seriously. And which, by the way, anybody has the opportunity yet, D1Baney.com. Go over there, DEWAN, and his last name spelled BAYNEY. Go to D1Baney.com. He's actually I don't know if he's closed it out yet, but he's running a coaching program for those people. And it's not just self-publishing, it's business in general. And that guy was, a serial entrepreneur, obviously. We found out through his interview. It wasn't just self-publishing. He does music. And now he's starting to reach into, the coaching area. And he's taking on a limited clientele. And actually, I had somebody who contacted me more recently and was just like, hey, so what are your thoughts on his coaching? And I was like, dude, he's magnificent. He's like, so
why would you not do it?
Right. He's like, so have you been coached by him? And so how do you know? And I'm like, listen, I was like, you spend about 5 minutes talking to Diwan Bainey. You've been coached.
Yes, inadvertently, yes, it happens.
Yeah, he never just says you should do things this way, but he is the perfect leader. He actually is the type of person that just leads by example, and as well as can guide you in that sense. He never tells you forces you to do anything. But I learned a lot over the last year and a half that I've known the guy, and it was funny. Before he offered his coaching program, I was one of the first people to come up and ask him. I'm like, look, dude, can you be my coach? And he's like, yeah, let's get our schedules together. But something happened. My schedule didn't match up with his schedule. And it was kind of back and forth. And eventually just kind of fell off to the side. And, I just went ahead and started taking Jason, and started using Jason from that point on. So, which haven't regretted that for a minute. Obviously, he's done a fantastic job.
So do you recommend having a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If price is an issue, okay, the very first thing you need to figure out, okay, this is something that my mother taught me a long time ago, actually. Back in 2006, I had just rehabbed from my first back injury. I had surgery. I had the herniation removed from my low back, and I had to do rehab. I had to learn how to walk again. I did a ton of training, and that's actually where I became inspired to become a personal trainer, because I said, I'd love to be a physical therapist. Then I looked how much schooling was involved. And I was like, screw that. So that's when I looked into personal training, and that's why I wanted to become a personal trainer. Physical therapists inspired me. I only had like an hour appointment, like three times per week, I think it is. And it was for like a 90-day period. And I went in, I was diligent. I would show up early. I would get warmed up early, and I would stay late because I would ask them questions. When my physical therapist would be done with me, I'd go over to another one and be free. I'd be like, it was in a little clinic that was inside the assisted living community that I was working at. And I'd go over and I would ask people, and I would, get them to correct my form. But at any rate, though, that's another, version of a coach. That physical therapist was something early on that I learned from, and it didn't take much. All you have to do is be genuinely open to learning from somebody. Now, I paid for the physical therapy, clearly, but they never had to talk to me beyond the sessions. Sometimes I come in and I'd be like, hey, I got a question. Anytime I do this, it kind of hurts a little bit. What do you suggest? And they're like, yeah, don't do that. But so let's say money's an issue. So 2006, I said, all right, my back's 100%. I am going to become an actually professionally trained professional wrestler, because I actually did professional wrestling from 2002 to mid 2003. I did a WWF tryout in 2004 down at Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I was exposed to numerous people. Well, back injury happens out and at work of all places, and that set me behind. But in any event, 2006 came along. It was about January 2006. I went up to Scott Demore's school over in Windsor, just right across the border. So you just literally go across the thumb of Michigan and go over into Ontario. So at any rate, I was over in Windsor and went to Scott Demore's school. Scott actually had trained a number of famous professional wrestlers, and a lot of them were in the early incarnation of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, which is called Impact Wrestling these days out of Florida. But anyway, I don't know if Scott's involved with them. I doubt he is. But he had, it was pretty bare bones. It was a small warehouse that pretty much had a ring in the middle of it, and it was cold as hell. And he had some beat up couches, and he just, he was so accommodating. He's like, oh, you come on in, yeah. Because I got a home ahead of time. I wanted to take a look at his school. It was going to be about, I think, probably like a 5-hour commute. But after reading Mick Foley's book like 3 times and finding out that he would drive upwards of like 11 hours just to get training from Dominic DiNucci, I was like, okay, I can do that. At the very least, is 5 hours. So any event, I went up there, I took a look at it, and you know, and it was good. It was good. And he had a great price point. I mean, it was stellar. I was like, okay, I could get trained by somebody who's trained a lot of, you know, the who's who of wrestling. And I was like, okay. But prior to that, I had shared with my mom and my mother. You'll hear from time to time, I'll bring up her in a joking fashion, but, you know, she is a wonderful, wonderful person. And a very much an inspiration, and a person that usually kind of gives me a little bit of clarity whenever I'm, you know, I have issues in figuring out where I need to go. And I shared with her, I went to Scott Demore School, and she's like, well, didn't you tell me that Lance Storm has one of the best schools in the world? And I was like, well, yeah, but I can't afford it, because it was $3,200 at the time, and it was up in Calgary. And there was no driving, commuting back and forth from Ohio to there, because that was easily a 36-hour trip from, you know, Columbus, Ohio, all the way out to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And she said to me on the phone, she was just like, that doesn't sound like a problem. Why is there an issue? I said, well, I don't have the money. Where am I going to come up with that? I mean, say I come up with $3,200. It's a 3-month course that I'm gonna have to be immersed in the, you know, in Calgary. I have to pay for rent. I got to pay for food. I won't have employment. And she's just like, you're giving excuses why you can't be able to live your dream and, you know, and have coaching from somebody who's the best in the world. So there is a good purpose why I'm coming to the point of, you know, getting a coach. Is sometimes some people say, I don't have the money. You'll find it. If it's that important to you, if you want to learn from the best in the world, that investment is one of the greatest investments you can. Now, I'm not telling you to go to find any Tom, Dick, or Harry off the street and be like, you're going to be my coach and I'm going to pay you $3,000. No, make sure somebody's reputable. Lance Storm was multiple. He had multiple championships all the way from ECW to WCW to WWF/WWE. And, you know, he trained many people through the developmental territory where it was Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then when he actually retired from the business, he'd opened up his school up there. And he's had numerous students actually that have even been brought up to the roster. I know that Emma, she's a women's wrestler. She actually had an injury here more recently. Get well, Emma. But Emma, you know, she's from Australia. She trained up at Lance's. A gentleman that was just released not too long ago. We called him Frenchie in the class, but his name's Tom LaRufa. He was from France, Nice, France. And he actually was, I'm forgetting his name right now, but he was more recently released. But Tom, you know, Tom didn't have any problem. Actually, I'm sure he probably had tons of problems. And, you know, first of all, getting passport, getting, you know, flight out, you know, getting a place to stay, getting food in his stomach. And this guy, he is cut. We're talking like I think he literally probably washes his clothes on his abs. Like wash 4 abs. He just probably pours soap right there and just scrubs it right on his abs. Like this, exactly, man. And, you know, but any event, you know, they found the way. So something that, you know, Ty Lopez talks a lot about is, you know, getting a mentor. So here's an interesting story for you. And maybe I've told you this before, but, you know, for, you know, sake of hearing and reminiscing on this Ty Lopez actually had shared in one of his YouTube videos that if anybody is an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, you know, maybe he doesn't speak to you, but look into Ty Lopez. You know, this guy is who he says he is. His Lamborghinis aren't rented. His mansion isn't rented. Trust me. Okay. Because if he's been renting it this whole time,
that's a lot of rent.
He's probably making even more if that was the case, you know, because he wouldn't be able to afford that after a while. And trust me, I see this guy's daily posts. He doesn't just, you know, he's doing things live. I mean, I stay and I feed on YouTube, and I get like 2 posts a day from YouTube that are live. So this guy is who he says he is, and he's a multi-millionaire. And a lot of people are like, oh, what's the business that he does? Well, you know, he mainly focuses on entrepreneurial type efforts and such. And, you know, he does a lot of mindset type deal, and he talks a lot about reading, and he's just very multifaceted. But his experience, he said that when he had come back from living in Amish country, I don't know if you ever knew that about Ty. He actually had lived in Amish country and had immersed himself in that culture.
Wow. No.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. You ever get a chance, go watch his TED Talks. He talks a little bit more about, you know, living the Amish life. Well, when he got out of that, he ended up, I think he said he had $37 to his name, and he was sleeping on a couch of a friend or whatnot, And he'd asked his, father, what can I do? Now, mind you, I'm paraphrasing. If somebody comes back and corrects me, my apologies, but my recollection and my understanding was that Ty, had consulted his father, and he was like, well, look for the person who's most successful and try to learn from them, get them to be your mentor, your coach, if you will. But, money was an issue. Obviously, he's $37 sleeping on a couch. You don't have very much money. Sure, he could have found some way to get that. So what he ended up doing was he opened up the Yellow Pages, and the Yellow Pages being, the phone book, and he scrolled through. He found the largest ad he could find in there and called him up and found out who the person who ran the business. Because his thought was, if somebody has enough to invest in a Yellow Pages ad, which is tens of thousands of dollars for, large ad, then there's a good chance they're probably doing pretty well in their business. So he went and approached the gentleman, and I showed up there, nicely dressed and such. And he just said, I know that you don't know who I am, and I probably don't know you too well, but I found you inside the Yellow Pages, and it just would seem to me that you're doing very successfully. And what I would like to do is I want to be as successful as you. And I don't care what I've got to do, to help you out in your business. If I can just come here and work for you for free, just so I can learn from you, then that's what I'll do. And so that's pretty much what started him out. And I guess that this guy said to him, once again, paraphrasing, he just said, I have been looking for a person like you for the last 15, 20 years, something like that. And he said, I've been really wanting somebody like you. So yes, let's do this. And he's like, someday you're going to come back. And I know this exact words, you're going to come back and you're going to hug my neck. And he's just like, and Ty, of course, is trying to pass that forward, because he says, hey, I want you to come back and hug my neck, one of these times. So mentors and coaches can come in so many forms. You can get on these YouTube channels, maybe you and I are, can be considered coaches for some people, because, we had some degree of success, and sure, we're not Ty Lopez's of the world, but you and I can definitely say that we have more freedom than what we had when we were in a 9-to-5 job.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, here's the thing, man. You got to define what success is to you. That's an individual thing, right?
Absolutely.
If you want to make $1 million a month and that'll make you happy, and that's your version of success, then go do it. Go make that happen. If it's time freedom to be able to travel, spend time with your family, do whatever you want, and have your bills paid, financially secure, and then you're good. Okay, whatever, man. Or if it's, making margarita umbrellas and selling them on a beach, whatever, not everybody's got the same version of success.
Yeah, absolutely. Its success is going to vary from one person to the next. And it's so funny how some people will always go back and refer to money as being success. To me, money definitely will, of course, allow me more freedoms. And that is definitely part of that. One of the reasons of me doing things, and hopefully you'll share your reason again, is we probably said them on the shows, but I want to be able to be around my wife. She's literally feet away from me. And most of these shows, when people are watching or listening to this, she's within, spitting distance. I wouldn't spit at her, but spitting distance. She's actually sitting over here working right now hard on some stuff for her self-publishing. But I like that. But the ultimate, bottom line is the two of us want to have the discretionary expense that we can travel to wherever we want to, whenever we want to. So does that mean millions of dollars? Quite possibly. Of course, millions of dollars would make that definitely possible. But, if I can just have enough to pay the bills, put food in my stomach, and have a little bit of money left over so that we can be able to travel the world together, that right there is my definition of success. So what exactly is your definition, Kevin?
It's very similar to that, man. And here's the thing. I'm coming at it from, it's kind of funny, man, anymore. I'm coming at it from almost like a lazy standpoint. And I'm not saying lazy like a work ethic, or I want to do, how can I say this? I want to do the least and get the biggest return on it. Okay, and that's not taking shortcuts. I don't want anybody to think that. There's no shortcut, right?
Right.
But that there's something called a duplication process where you can duplicate yourself, right, into your business. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have 1% of 100 people than 100% of one of me. You know what I mean? There's kind of the thought behind that. Also, you know, automating your business, I think is crucial at some point, because if not, you can get tied to it. And I'm not saying this in a negative fashion. You can get tied to it more than you were the 9 to 5. So all of a sudden, instead of a 40-hour work week, you're 60 hours into it, right? Because you're doing it all for yourself.
Yep.
So my definition is I want to give myself back time, right? And be able to travel. You know, there's people in different states and stuff, and that's just here in the United States. World travel, first I'd have to get my wife to want to actually leave the continental U.S. So hopefully someday. But
she
you know,
averse to flying or
leaving the country, not flying.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, just because of all the chaos and stuff that's in the world, you know what I mean? It's just a little bit of an aversion. So not a bad thing. But, you know, there's like to come see you. You know what I mean? Like if I want to come down and there's something going on for the weekend, come hang out.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I've got friends that live in Washington. I've got, you know, family that live in Florida, South Carolina. You know, travel to Hawaii, then go to Paris, Spain. I'd like to ride a bike through Europe. I know as weird as that sounds, right? I would like to do that. But, yeah, just to be able to do that, man, time and the only thing that's going to be able to do that, you know, unfortunately is money. And that's not a bad thing. It's how you look at money, right? Money changes us. It does, either good or bad. You know,
it amplifies whatever is within you. I really believe, you know. So if you're poor, if you got poor spending habits, guess what? You know, you can make $1 million, but
you're going to be broke.
Yeah, you won't keep it. Yeah, so it only merely just amplifies those situations.
Yes.
I mean, you look at, you know, someone like say an MC Hammer. That guy was in the top of the world, and where's dude at now these days? I mean, I think about you know, maybe about 5-6 years ago, he was recording commercials for American Express, probably just to pay his bills and get by. You know, I know he filed bankruptcy. So, you know, to a certain extent, he probably was never great with his money. And maybe he'd probably be the first person to admit to that. You know, the fact that he had to file bankruptcy was because he wasn't a good manager of money. So money just only amplifies what your qualities within you. So if you're a good person, it'll really amplify that you're a great person. A lot of people think that, you know, money's the root of all evil. No. Money's not the root of all evil. No, it isn't. You know, because there's some great people out there. Look at someone like Warren Buffett. I mean, how much does this guy give towards charitable causes? You know, millions upon millions of dollars. Someone like Bill Gates doesn't have to have scholarships set up for people, but he does that out of the kindness of his heart. You know, try to explain that to me. Put your conspiracy theories to work on this. You know, the root of all evil. No, root of all evil is people that are dicks. That's what the root of all evil is.
The dick faces.
Right.
Yes. You know, honestly, man, that's the truth. You know, and this is a crazy, and it's not. I'm not trying to get biblical on anybody, but as a species, right? And with the cognitive reasoning ability that we have, and able to think and decide, we should, all of us should be abundant, right?
Yeah.
It starts up here, though, man. It's a scarcity mindset. It is what the majority of people have. You know, they see, like, I don't have a mansion, or I don't have a new car. I don't have $20. Guess what? You know, that repetitive language, I don't have, has perpetuated their life to a point to where they just feel like I don't have. And then they then they stop and they go, that's okay. You know, it's kind of like they give up.
They settle.
They settle. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's unfortunate because it should be the opposite. So, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, you're so right. And I just, some of the people that actually kill me is, you know, the ones that look at the elite, the uber successful, the people that are multimillionaires or billionaires, and you're just like, oh, they're so greedy, yada yada. You know, why don't you stop hating and why don't you start working? You know,
right.
Spend a little more time working your tail off and hustling your ass off. Guess what? You probably would be amongst the uber elite. In fact, if you were paid for all the trolling that you've done in your days, the amount that they're actually making, you'd probably be an ultra, you know, successful multi-trillionaire at this point. And so it just kills me. Some people just be too busy, you know, oh, well, they were born with the silver spoon in their mouth. Oh, well, they were an overnight success. You know, I got news for you. I didn't make my #1 bestseller sitting in my ass. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Even after making my #1 bestseller, guess what? I'm no multi-millionaire, and I got a lot of work to do. So anybody that would look at me and say, "Oh gosh, he just, he got it handed to him. He found lightning in a bottle." Bull shit. Go look at some of my books that are at like the 1 million rank. Yeah. Or the 600,000 rank. That's my proof. I smell like smoke because I've been through fire, baby.
There you go. No, it's actually what happened, man. This is interesting. I'm glad you brought this up. You tapped into you at that point. You know what I mean? If you think about it, you tapped into what your passion is, kind of twofold: fitness and helping people, right?
Yeah.
So you put that together, and that didn't happen overnight, man. Obviously, I mean, how many books did you write prior to?
Let's see here. Man, I'd have to go through and count, but if I'm going to guess, it was about at least, and not including any of the stuff that I did through just self-publishing in general, to where, I actually had, pen names that I put out, which, I'll go to my grave with those particular pen names, just because I just don't want it attached to my particular name. I don't want to muddy the waters up. And then, of course, I hired out for, outsource writing for pen names and such, and built brands on those type of things. So subtracting all those things, just underneath the Dale L. Roberts name, I had, let's see here, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12, about 14 titles before an Ultimate Home Workout Plan bundle went #1 bestseller back in January of this year. So
wow.
that was
seems like an overnight success.
Yeah, no doubt. If I were to say, let's see here, my first release, I actually think I just posted the anniversary day, was from 2 years ago. It was actually last week, I think it was when I actually had released the 3 keys to health and happiness, unlock your greater life. That's actually what it was originally called. And then I ended up repackaging it after working, not only going through Jason Brock's course, but also studying, underneath some other self-publishers and learning what was working. And then, of course, getting an editor. Editor right there changed everything I was doing, because I thought I could just go on out there and just shoot out whatever, I wanted to, and just, expect that people would buy the stuff. Well, guess what? I outside of friends and family paying for my, that first publication, the sales came to a halt. And that's why I never considered it as an option until I started looking at the fact that, my work was driving a stake between my wife and I, and that was just unreasonable to me, and I couldn't allow that to happen. So
sure.
Hopefully whoever, listens to this show, if you have any kind of inkling of, if you can relate, and you're in that particular situation, know this, I'm not telling you to go out and quit your job right now. Be realistic. If you've got a good backup plan. Thankfully, my wife was already becoming pretty successful in her business and Amazon FBA. So I knew that if I could help her make that a lot more successful, it would give me a little bit more freedom to actually do self-publishing. But then I putzed around and I did dumb things, and I was focusing on stuff that doesn't make me money. And rest assured, I still do that to a certain extent. And that's why sometimes I got to draw that line and say, okay, I'm not doing this. This is what pays the bills, because sometimes I get so excited because I'm like, oh, well, I can go do this, or I can go do this, and I can go do this. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is you're splitting, 20 different directions. John C. Maxwell, and we're going to go to the close here of the show here. John C. Maxwell said this in a couple of his leadership books, and I'm not sure in reference to who it was, but he's speaking about a lion tamer. And the lion tamer, if you notice ever at like circuses and things like that, he'll come in with a stool, okay? And to actually get the lion to obey their commands, they'll hold the stool up to where the actual feet are faced towards the lion. So what ends up happening is there's 4 different points that the lion has its attention split. So the lion becomes split, and it's like, oh, and it just freezes, and it just doesn't know what to do, because there's 4 different points for it to focus on, and it doesn't know where to start. And sure. That's pretty much what ends up happening. Is sometimes is, if you let, as an entrepreneur, you can drown an opportunity. It really is. You can literally drown. It's not just a play on words. You literally will. You can. Yeah, you'll put yourself not only out of business, but you also put yourself back into a 9-to-5 job that you're trying to work yourself out of in the first place. So, sure. Focus on one thing and really become a master at it, and just dominate it. And that's one of the reasons why, when I anymore, if I focus on something, like right now, email marketing is huge for me. I've been reading a ton of email marketing, and I'm listening to it in my audiobooks because I want to immerse myself into that. I want to become the expert of email marketing eventually. And that's pretty much where all my focus is at. But in the same instance, I don't try to, start writing things on that because I want to stay focused because it's going to help me build and elevate my brand. So, don't let the opportunities be like a stool to you. Don't be that, lion. Everybody can say, I'm a lion. Well, yeah, you put a stool in front of a lion, they're going to have their, there's a point, it's you drown an opportunity before you know it. And, so that's why I just try to focus on, working on the workout plan brand, because obviously it pays the bills and brings, puts food on a table. And there's other projects that are in the works, but, thankfully I still have that and it's growing, and many other really, really cool things. But that's the last point I wanted to cover because, I always read one chapter from a John C. Maxwell book every day, just one chapter. That's it. And it really helps me kind of stay focused. And John always brings up some really good points that make me, okay. Because, leaders are readers, baby.
That's true. Nice segue. That's the same thing that the one thing is about. Is truly focusing on one thing as an entrepreneur until you have that to the point. Basically, it runs on its own. Is sort of the premise I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
And then at that point, then you can shift your focus, right?
Yeah.
To, if there's something else you want to learn, but it's a continual evolvement, right? It's not, okay, I did this, now let's start from, it's continually trying to grow, but focused on one thing, like you said, until you're the master of it. So
we're going to take a look at that and we can think about it. Let's see if we can slip that into our show notes.
Yeah. And here's the thing, man, Maurice, I want to call him Morris, even kind of pointed that out. He spent the last 10, 15 years on the side working on his craft, right? And now this is all that he does. And he's not doing, this or that or this or that. This is it, man. This is his focus.
Yep.
And so far, you're in love with the guy. And honestly, I can see why. Wow, what a voice. But
yep.
Yeah, man, it's the one thing. So now I know, if I don't hear from you for like a week or two, you're buried somewhere. So,
yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, man, it's looking like it's getting ready to break 100 degrees out here in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going on out there and try to enjoy the rest of the evening with my wife. And so as we start to wrap up the show, I really do appreciate everybody tuning in as per usual. And, your support really means a lot to us. It would mean even more to us if you could just take a moment, whatever platform that you might be on, be it, if you're watching us on YouTube, click that thumbs up and click the subscribe. If you're over on Stitcher or TuneIn or iTunes, do us a favor, follow us. Just click the follow. It'd be awesome if you leave a rating for us where it's applicable. If you think that we're a 1-star show, go ahead and give us a 1-star. But if you think we're a 5-star show, please give us a 5-star. Either way, we'd like your honest input. And of course, as always, you can get a hold of Kevin and I over at bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. Once again, that's bootstrapbusinessmen@gmail.com. Hey, we're definitely looking for guests coming into the near future. And next Wednesday, live on
Living
YouTube,
Color
will be fitness celebrity and fitness guru herself, Christmas Abbott. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful interview. I cannot wait because she brings so much knowledge about starting a business from scratch. She knows exactly, what to do and what not to do and what has made her super successful. So I really recommend you guys set your clocks to this. If you're listening to this podcast on this Sunday, then chances are you're going to want to make sure that you get over onto YouTube. Subscribe now so you turn your notifications on. You can find out exactly when Christmas comes on live.
Yes. June 15th, man. I'm excited for that one. I'm actually
that's not next week, is it? This week after next.
Clay's next week. Yeah.
Sorry, Clay. Totally
Clay's
sorry.
Clay's next week, and then honestly, capping on starting the middle of the month, and wow, dude, I know you're pretty pumped about it, and
yeah, for sure.
the crazy part, believe it or not, so is she. She's pretty being, to be honest with you. And yeah, dude, no, it's gonna be a good time. And we got another fitness professional coming on at the end of the month, but we'll leave that to a later date. But
absolutely, there's so much that we have coming down the pipeline. All right, on behalf of Bootstrap Businessmen, I'm Dale. Kevin, close us out.
hey, go make some magic happen. Have a good night, folks.
Please support the show by simply shopping at Amazon through the link in the show description. Every time you make a purchase through the provided link, a small percentage of sales goes back to support the show. There's no additional cost to you, and it greatly helps us out. Simply go to the link, bookmark it in your browser, and do your shopping on Amazon while you support the Bootstrap Businessman podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Bootstrap Businessmen.